So we're gonna learn about photosynthesis.
That's right. Thank you, Addie. All right, you can take your bath. All right, so as Addie wanted to tell you guys, today our video is about photosynthesis. And remember that photosynthesis is the process of converting carbon dioxide and sunlight into glucose and oxygen. So it sustains our food chain and it helps us breathe. And the products of photosynthesis are used as the ingredients of cellular respiration and vice versa. So remember, the first phase of photosynthesis is the light-dependent phase. We also call those the light reactions. And they occur in the thylakoid membrane of the chloroplast. So remember, the chloroplast has these little pancake-like stacks. Inside the thylakoid membrane, we have an electron transport chain. Remember, the purpose of an electron transport chain, just like in cellular respiration, is to generate ATP. The way we are able to do that is by electrons traveling through the membrane are going to pump protons, and then we pump the protons along their gradient through ATP synthase to create ATP. So the first phase of photosynthesis is going to just be using this electron transport chain to generate a proton gradient. And then the protons are going to be exiting through ATP synthase, which creates ATP. So when we take them against their gradient, we store up a lot of potential energy. And then when we allow them to go along their gradient, we harness that energy in the form of ATP. And that is called chemiosmosis. Also, first, this electron that is excited is going to flow through the electron transport chain, and then sunlight's going to strike it again, and it's going to be excited, and this electron needs to be picked up, and it is picked up by the electron carrier NADPH or NADP+. And when it picks up the electron, it's converted to NADPH. So the products of the light reactions are ATP and NADPH, which this is like a charged battery, and the electron that we need to go actually reduce carbon dioxide and turn it into G3P, which will eventually turn into glucose in the Calvin cycle. So here, remember that we need a source of these electrons, and our source of electrons is a water molecule. So the reason we need sunlight is because it's going to come in, it's going to split a water molecule. The purpose of splitting the water molecule is to extract the electrons, which can be excited by sunlight. They can enter the electron transport chain, allowing protons to be pumped against their gradient, and then allowing them to flow through ATP synthase along their gradient to create ATP, also creating NADPH. When we split the water molecule to extract the electrons, we produce oxygen as a waste product. It's actually not needed in the reactions. We'll use that as the final electron acceptor in cellular respiration. So it's very important, and we obviously need it to breathe. And then the hydrogens that are released from the water molecule can be used as protons to create this proton gradient. This proton motive force is what they call it when you have harnessing hydrogen ions, harnessing these protons against their gradient so that you can create a proton motive force which can escape through ATP synthase. So photolysis is the splitting of a water molecule to replace the excited electrons. So that's where we get a constant source of electrons from the water molecule. As they travel through the electron transport chain, eventually they're going to land in this electron carrier. And so that's why we need to keep replacing them, because all the electrons are eventually making their way to this electron carrier, which is going to carry this electron to the Calvin cycle. Now that we have ATP and an electron carrier, we're able to convert carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into carbohydrates. And our initial carbohydrate is called G3P, and two of those make a glucose. So remember, all of this happens in the chloroplast. The light reactions happen in the thylakoids, and the Calvin cycle happens in the stroma. This glucose molecule can then be broken down in the process of cellular respiration, which I will make a video about that one shortly. So that is photosynthesis. You have the light reactions that make oxygen, electron carriers, and ATP. And this is a waste product that is released by the leaf. And these are energy molecules that are used to help convert carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into G3P, which can be added to another G3P to create glucose, or this could be the basis of the other organic macromolecules that we talked about. So that is photosynthesis, and I hope that helps.